that said, Ashley, go ahead.
Thank you, Brant. Good afternoon. My name is Ashley Farringer, and I work for PNC Construction. We are a general contractor in the Oregon and Southwest Washington markets. You may know some of our work. We remodeled Parrish and Washington. I believe they're elementary middle schools down in the Salem-Keizer School District. And then we also did the Keizer Transit Station that's down there in the Salem area. I believe that was about 2014, 2015. This year, PNC is celebrating its 60th anniversary as a company, so we have been around quite a while. We mainly a large section of our work is in the K through 12 industry. We also have previously done healthcare facilities. We do a lot of civic buildings, community centers. We do a little bit of everything, but we do a lot of schools. As for me personally, I started at PNC Construction in 2006, actually as a high school intern. And I'm currently the accounting manager, so I have been here almost 15 years. And I today was just asked to talk to you guys about the kind of the getting hired process. I'll touch a little bit on PNC specific, and then also just some basics on when you're looking to get hired, things to look for, places to look, and some tips and tricks that I've used, as well as what I look for when I'm hiring. So with that, we'll go to our first slide, where to look when you're looking for a job. So I got connected with PNC by talking to teachers, and we had an internship program through my high school. But there are a lot of places that you can look for jobs. There's Indeed, Craigslist. A lot of people now are looking towards LinkedIn. Something that I also find very valuable is talking to people. Talk to your teachers. They have friends who are in different industries, who are business professionals. I got connected with PNC via an internship program, but actually I was signed up to be a financial planner intern. And that after 3 months of that, unfortunately, the owner of my business passed away. In order to finish my internship, I talked to my teacher. I needed just a couple weeks more, a few more hours to complete my credits. And she had a friend who worked for PNC, and 15 years later, I'm still here. With looking for a job, some things that you want to be mindful of is, where are you looking? Do you know what you're looking for? Are you just looking for, at the high school level, likely you're looking for an internship, or you're looking for an entry-level position. Those are great places to get started. My first job was refereeing volleyball. So there are things that, not all jobs are on a job board. Sometimes you hear about them through a family member or a friend, a parent, a teacher. If you hear about something that sounds interesting, the best thing that you can do is follow up. So say to, whoever you heard the job posting from, have you heard anything more about that position? Is there something that I can do, somebody that I can get in touch with? That sounds really interesting to me, and I would like to take the next step. Maybe just talk to somebody. The position might have already been filled, but in the business professional world, there are a lot of places people know of positions. I have coworkers and colleagues at different companies that will say, if you know of anybody, if you hear of anybody. Job boards and online LinkedIn places, those are really great places to look, but it is really valuable to work on making connections. It may not lead to a job today or tomorrow, but in a year or this summer, somebody may say, hey, I remember Ashley and she was looking for a position. Maybe reach out to her. It's always great to just keep talking to people. That is a huge component when you are looking for work. And that's from entry level all the way through as you advance in your career and post trade school or college. The next, if we go to the next slide, your skills and experience. So think of things that you know that you're good at, or maybe things that you want to be better at. So something that's really helpful as you're looking through these job postings, there are things like doctor, dentist, that you absolutely have to have specific skills and school to go to. But if you're looking for an entry-level position in customer service or maybe marketing, look at those job postings and look at the things that they're asking for in that posting, the things that they call core competencies or required skills. Look at those job postings as you're looking for work and say, do I have those? Or if you really want to be in accounting and you need to take some math classes, or you want to be in marketing and they want you to have experience with Excel, PowerPoint. What's really important is you look at those job postings and say, they're asking for these 5 things. How can I get experience? Sometimes a lot of those skills could be free, or somebody who's in that field and you could say, how do I get experience with Excel, PowerPoint? How do I work on Excel? There are a lot of really helpful things in those job postings. So even if you're not looking for a job, and right now, look, if you're interested in becoming a CPA, then look at the things that they're asking for. There's also sometimes there are certain things, soft skills that people are looking for. Are you a good communicator? Are you, doctors need to be compassionate. Are there certain things that you already possess that you just need to, work on or enhance your skills? It's really important to use those postings or things that your connections say, we really look for this when we're looking for somebody. The other part of, I speak a lot about the office side of P&C because that's where my daily work is. However, there are jobs in the trades. And what's important about those is a lot of jobs just in carpentry, or we work with all different trades, roofers, drywallers. Those trades just take a lot of experience. P&C specifically, we hire through the Carpenters Union and the Laborers Union. We're signatory. We have an agreement that we will hire union carpenters. So a great way to get experience is to join a union. You don't have to go to college for that. Most of them you can start right out of high school, and you get hands-on experience while you're being paid. When a job posting asks for 5 years experience, sometimes you're not going to get that right away. It's going to take that 5 years to get that experience. But along the way, as you work up to those, that is invaluable information that you learn along the way. You don't know what you don't know until you try it. And so I think that it's really important that you try multiple things and give different experiences, even if it's not a paid job. If you reach out and try those internships, or just say, I know that summer break is our time off from school, but hey, can I sit with you for a day? I'm really interested in marketing. Could I just learn what you do. We have an advantage with people working from home now. You may know friends or family members that are working from home that in the right industry, as long as it's not confidential, you could look over their shoulder. You could sit with them for a couple hours. And uh, I personally think it's great to share the information that I have. And I think a lot of professionals across all industries enjoy doing that. So to work on your skills and experience, it takes a lot of just reaching out and asking, how can I get better at this? And as you learn those things, you're gaining experience, and that's really important. The next slide, we can touch a little bit on education and training. I think that it's really important that you know that not all education comes from the classroom. You can learn a lot after you graduate by going to a trade school or when you're in school doing an internship. Some careers do require a 4-year university degree, and that's great if that's what you're going for. But remember to look out there and look and see what other jobs there are that may not require a college education. It's important that you really look at all of your different options and what you may want to do, because sometimes even with all the school in the world, they're still going to ask you for 5 years experience. And so if you can get out there and you can start by picking up a summer job or an internship, or even just working with somebody that you can really learn and gain that experience in multiple different ways and be able to check that box when you're looking at um, at those postings and they say 2 years experience. Some jobs will say a 4-year degree or 5 years experience. You may have some of that experience that you are able to work, add in, that eliminates some of that schooling. Additionally, when you join the union or other trades, there are multiple on the job paid apprenticeships. A lot of the different trades that are out there have apprenticeship programs where you're being paid and you're learning. And so that's another great way to add education to your resume without community college or 4-year university. Next, if we go ahead and if we switch that slide, something that's really valuable that I think everybody should have leaving high school is a resume. You might not have 2 or 3 pages worth of experience, and that's okay. But you may meet somebody that you're talking to in passing that has a job opportunity. And if you already have a basic resume written that has your skills and your education experience, and maybe your experience right now is just babysitting, or maybe it's mowing lawns or things that may not seem like they're worthy of putting on a resume, but they are. And make sure that you put that experience down. Something that I look for on resumes is showing initiative. And babysitting is not always glamorous, but it's something that you can say, I've done this, I have a reference, I've continued to work. And that's important to show that you have some experience. But if you have that resume that's saved on your computer, and after you chat with your teacher's friend or your friend's parents, something like, however you made your connection, if you can go home and you can add a little bit to that resume, but you have that saved on your computer, and within 24 hours, you can just say, hey, if you hear of anything, here's my resume. Feel free to pass it on. Having that guideline and that base ready to go, it means that somebody's not waiting for you for a week to get a resume together and get it proofread, and you can just send it out. You can make a couple little edits to make your resume relevant to the industry that you might be interested in, and then you can send it off. And within 24 hours, that person hasn't forgot your name, they haven't forgot how they met you, and they remember that conversation, and now they have a resume and they can send it off to somebody that's looking for a part-time help in the summer, and they're able to say, here, I talked to this really great person and they have some awesome ideas and they'd love to get some experience. Here's their resume. So if you have that ready to go, that's really important. If you are applying for a very specific job, tailor that resume to that job. So uh, as small, it might seem small to you, but to change, maybe you're looking at, if I were looking for somebody to hire at my front desk position, I would be looking for somebody that's organized, that is, has experience answering the phones or going to the post office. And those are real things that I look for. And those skills, they should be at the top. You should emphasize your skills that are relevant to the job. So maybe you are really good at carpentry also, or you have a graphic design interest and you're really great with PowerPoint. For my front desk position, that's not the first thing I want to see. Those are great skills to have, but if you have the organization and the experience answering the phone, those should be the things that you adjust and that you put at the top of your resume. So, or in the beginning of your skills section, that that stick out to the job, that's relevant to the job posting that you're applying for, that catches their eye. I'll give you an example. We were recently hiring for our front desk position, and I got over 50 resumes. And when you're reviewing resumes, especially in bulk like that, you really want something that sticks out. You want to be able to grab the attention of the person that's reading those resumes in the first couple lines or in that skills section. Because if I have to read 50 resumes and I'm looking for organization and phone skills, and they're the last on your list, that might get missed. And it's not intentional, but if it's not something that is grabbing the attention of the posting that they're looking for, it could get missed. So it's great to have that resume that you can adjust as you go through those job postings. You can grab the attention of that person by just making a few key changes, and save that resume as resume for PNC construction or resume for J5 marketing. That way you know what you sent. As you get more into the job market and you start looking for jobs, you might send off 2 or 3 resumes a week. You want to make sure that when the manager from J5 comes to you and says, we'd like to interview you for your marketing internship, you're able to grab that resume that you gave them and talk to them about that resume, because you may have made a few different changes than when you were applying for the front desk position at PNC. And so having a folder that has your different resumes, you pointed out different skills. That way you can, when you get to that interview stage, you can speak directly to that resume that you sent them, and you guys are talking the same piece of paper. You wouldn't want to be reading off a resume that you sent to one company for a different company's phone interview and maybe potentially an in-person interview. So for resume writing, I think that that's extremely important. Some other key things when you're writing a resume: have somebody else proofread it. Make sure there aren't any mistakes in it. That is my manager. Spelling errors drive her nuts, and she always finds them. So it's super important when you're sending this out that it is proofread and error-free, and 2 sets of eyes on something is really important. It's also helpful if you have a teacher that proofreads your resume. They can say, hey, Ashley, you didn't mention that, you won this competition, or that you are really great at PowerPoint. There might be things that other people know that you have, and skills that you have, that you may have left off, and somebody else can see that and be able to help you with that. Your friends, anybody that can get a second set of eyes on it, that's really important. And when you are applying for a very specific job, or your resumes are also important sometimes in college applications. You can have resumes for lots of different reasons, but make sure that your resume is answering the questions that they have in their posting. So if maybe they're asking for 5 years of experience, or even just 1 year. Let's go with an entry level position. If they're asking for 1 year of clerical experience, or 1 year of maybe automotive experience, and you don't have a formal, um, you didn't work at A1 Auto, but you and your dad have been working on cars since you were, 15. A cover letter is something that's really helpful when you're writing a resume. They're not always required, but if you don't have something that's key that they're asking for on their job posting, throw in that cover letter. We recently were hiring for an HR position, and somebody was moving from a different state. Our position was in the office, and we weren't quite sure why why somebody from Tennessee was applying for a job in Portland. Well, a quick resume, or a quick cover letter that says they're looking to relocate and Portland's one of their options, that answered our question. So if you feel like a cover letter could be valuable and add to your resume, put one with it. It may answer some questions that they're looking for. It will also show them that you're taking initiative and that you're wanting to add to your resume, and maybe answer some of the questions that they might have. Those cover letters can be really valuable to an employer who is looking for somebody that is going a little bit above and beyond. If we go on to the next slide, there's nothing more important. So now they've looked at your resume, they've given you a call, they want to go through an interview. There's nothing more important with interviewing than to practice. Interviews can be really uncomfortable, and the more you practice with different questions or different people, you're going to get better at them. And you might not land the first interview or the second interview. Please don't give up on yourself. Please keep going to those interviews. Please keep practicing. And you're going to learn a little bit each time you do an interview. I will also tell you, when I'm interviewing somebody, I get nervous. You as a business, this candidate that you're asking for an interview, you might really want them to come work for you. You liked their resume, you liked your phone interview, and now you really want them to come work for you. Employers and those that are interviewing, they can also be nervous too, because they're trying to show their best self. They want you to leave that interview wanting to come work for them. So the more you practice with an interview and you come in ready and prepared, the interviewer is going to see that, and they're going to feel that, and they will probably relax a little bit when they're in their interview and be able to have a conversation. There are some jobs that you may apply for that have some really specific questions that you have to answer. So when I'm hiring an accounting person, I need specific skills. I need them to understand debits and credits. And some of those questions you're not going to get away from. You are going to have to answer questions that do have right or wrong answers. But there is a lot in an interview that employers are looking for that aren't on a piece of paper. They are looking for, are you personable? Can you come in and have a conversation? Are you, in our size office, even though we do this past year over $90 million worth of work, we are a kind of a small office. And so when we hire someone, we're looking for somebody that's the right fit. We want somebody that's hardworking, that is, that you can just have a conversation with, and you do feel it, as making a connection. And this is somebody that I could work with. Right now, most of us are remote, but in a normal circumstance, you're with some of your coworkers for 8 hours. So if you go in with a positive attitude and you say good morning or good afternoon, how are you? You really get into that interview and you're having a conversation. I think some of the best interviews that I've sat in, it hasn't felt like I'm just giving them questions. We have a conversation, and we really get to know each other and the position. And you could, in some interviews that last an hour, you really get to see maybe how you would be working with somebody. Some other really important parts when you're interviewing is to be early, but not so early that you're uncomfortably waiting in the waiting area for too long. Make sure that you're dressed for the position. Not every job you need to be in a tie or a dress. Some offices are more casual. Do your research on the company that you are interviewing with. It is so important that when we interview somebody that they've done a little bit of research, that they say, yeah, we look at PNC's website and we notice that they do school work. And somebody says, I saw your sign because I live over on 36th Street and you're building a new school there. It really feels like you've taken the initiative and you want to work there and you want to be involved. So having that little piece of information to just build off of really shows the employer that you're looking, that you're serious about the position. And last thing, have questions for the person. Even if it's just one or two, say, what are you looking for? Or what would a day be like at this job? Or what do you think is the best part about working? Make sure that it's a two-way conversation. And it's also very important to say, to send a thank you, either email or I get, depending on the type of situation, even a text message, or I've gotten handwritten cards before that just say, thank you for your time. It is an investment to hire somebody. And so thank you.